this off then. Perfect. Okay.
Cool. Pretty good. All right, folks, we're gonna get started. Oh yeah. All right, hi everyone. Thanks for coming this morning. My name is Ian Golden. I'm with Justice for Brentwood, a neighbor here in Brentwood. Today we're going to be hearing about the lawsuit that our neighborhood is filing against the district about the bus terminal that's being placed here. Brentwood's a neighborhood that is already encumbered by a number of industrial sites, all up W Street, all up 13th Street. Ward 5 as a whole is home to roughly 50% of the district's industrial sites, and a majority of them are adjacent to our neighborhood the whole way. One thing we want to be clear about with this argument is that this is not a not in my backyard type of argument. This is that the city can't put it all in our backyard.
That's
so,
right.
So today we're going to be hearing from Empower DC, Zachary Parker, our attorney Johnny Barnes, one of the plaintiffs, Reggie Donaldson. So I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. Thank everyone from the Justice for Brentwood Steering Committee. We've all done a lot to get here, and we all appreciate your work. Thanks so much. So I'm going to pass it off to Commissioner Darlene Oliver, Commissioner for ANC 5C.
Hello everyone, my name is Darlene Oliver. I'm the ANC Commissioner for 5CO5, and first thing I want to do is thank Empower DC for all the hard work they put into helping me find a way to stop this construction behind us. First, we have to say that Ward 5 can no longer be the dumping ground, for the government or anyone else who does not want it in their backyard. They would never go to Ward 1, it would never go to Ward 2. They throw it over here. We have a street, probably a mile, of nothing but industrial pollutants. We have residents who cannot sit on their front porch because they cannot breathe. They have asthma, we have a high rate of asthma, we have a high rate of cancer, we have a high rate of childhood bronchitis in this area. In the summertime, it is unbelievable. The smell from all of these pollutants, the air is very heavy. And we want it to stop today. This is the end. It can go no further.
That's right.
Okay? And that's what I have to say. Thank you so much.
All right, and next we'll hear from Reggie.
All right, Reggie.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Reggie Donaldson. I stay here on W Street. And just like my neighbor said, just like the commissioner said, this is not in my backyard type thing, okay? This neighborhood, this ward has over half of the dumping ground for pollutants and so forth here in the district. And we're just standing up before they put something else here to tell them not to do it. You know, we love our city, okay? We love our fellow residents. Only thing we're asking is that the city show us some love, okay? And don't put this over here. You know, we've been told that this won't affect pollution. 250 buses won't affect pollution. Well, maybe not for the whole city, but definitely for this neighborhood. We've been told that it won't affect traffic. Come on. You know, I mean, you should see the traffic at rush hour in the morning and in the afternoon. You can't tell us that 250 buses won't affect that. So once again, me and my fellow residents, we're standing up. We want the city to hear that we don't want this bus depot over here, okay? Wherever the buses were being parked at first, they used eminent domain to take residential homes from residents. Why can't you use eminent domain to take the parking lot, pay that guy a fair price for his parking lot, and keep the buses where they are? Okay. So once again, Reggie Donaldson, happy DC resident, just wanting everyone here to know what's going on here, and please, if you can, support us, support Empower DC to help us stop what they're trying to do here in the district. So thank you.
Excellent.
Hey, Reggie.
All right, Parisa, you're up next. Parisa from Empower DC.
All right, everybody. Good morning. You know, when Brentwood residents reached out to Empower DC, I heard a very familiar story, which was residents who are very active in their community being ignored by the city government, asking for information, asking for the opportunity to have input, being put off and told, oh, this is still, pending, we haven't made any decisions, and then the next thing you know, permits are being issued, construction is starting. There is a system in place that ignores DC residents and their concerns and bulldozes through to make whatever the mayor's office wants to make happen, to make it happen. They are doing so at the expense of our own laws, our own environmental laws, our own sunshine laws, our own human rights laws, our own ANC input laws. And we saw this years ago, of course, in the Ivy City case where the ANC had not been notified and they were putting a polluting bus depot at a historic site in the neighborhood, and we had to sue with attorney Johnny Barnes and finally overcome that. And so I saw a very similar story here. And then when I did a little research, I saw Brentwood residents have been saying no for decades. Decades. There were court cases. There were zoning cases. They have tried every avenue possible to be heard and have systematically been ignored. Here we are in the city right now. We hear this word equity everywhere, right? Racial equity. There was no equity in the decision making of putting yet another polluting facility in Brentwood, okay? There was no look at the cumulative impact. There was no door knocking to talk to the residents like we did and hear that the majority of people have respiratory illness in their households, that people are suffering with the smells, the traffic, the dangerous traffic, especially with trucks, not just regular cars, rumbling trucks, the noise pollution. We have to stop the way that we are siting industrial facilities in this city. We have to look at the impact. We have to look at racial equity. And that is going to mean we're going to have to do some things that the city might feel uncomfortable at first. We might have to put things in places that have been protected from these things in the past. We might have to switch the way that we do things altogether. We might have to buy land in other areas. We might have to turn sites like this into parks and green space or other types of uses. Just because it says on a map that it's industrial does not mean it's suitable for polluting industries across the street from people's homes, right? So we want environmental justice now. You see trucks, you see bulldozers coming down the street. This is daily life in Brentwood, okay? And that's not even the noisiest of them, right? This is daily life in Brentwood. We can't add 250 school buses coming in and out every day. The science is showing that the exhaust from school buses, even though not diesel, is extremely harmful to the health. And while, sometimes the air quality regulations are not strict enough, they may say, oh, it's not going to harm the air because the regulations themselves are unjust. So we have to look at every aspect of this. We are not even measuring the impact in a just way, okay? So we're proud to stand with Brentwood residents. We're proud that Commissioner Darlene Oliver and so many others have come together and shown leadership. We're the kind of organization that sticks with it as long as we have to, right? So this is going to be a fight, and we don't want to just stop this bus depot, this bus terminal. We want to change the way that the city deals with environmental justice and deals with the placement of polluting facilities, and that will support residents across the district who are dealing with similar injustices. Thank you, everybody.
Empower DC. Parisa.
All right, thank you so much. So we're going to hear from Attorney Johnny Barnes, and then it looks like we'll also have Councilmember McDuffie here in just a moment. Actually, Councilmember, would you like to speak now? Awesome, thanks so much.
All right, council member.
Thank you, Attorney Barnes, and thank you, Parisa. Thank you to the ANC, obviously, for all of your work. My name's Kenyan McDuffie. I represent Ward 5 on the Council of the District of Columbia, and I am here today united with the residents of Brentwood. I am here to stand with the residents of Brentwood because we need more people to recognize the environmental injustice right here in this neighborhood. Imagine having to keep your windows closed when you have a cup of coffee to avoid the fumes of a trash transfer station coming into your home. Imagine having to deal with the sights, the smells, and the pollution from concrete asphalt plants. Imagine having to deal with all the things that already exist today that are impacting this neighborhood negatively, that are diminishing their quality of life, and then add on 250 buses. It is unfair, it is inconsiderate, and most importantly, it is an injustice. And it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to any community in the District of Columbia, in particular one that already bears the brunt of environmental hazards in our city. We've got to raise the level of consciousness. We've got to raise the level of consideration. We've got to be a more equitable city so that we understand when we make decisions as a government to put 250 buses into this community, it impacts us all, right? We need to be more thoughtful before we act. And so I am here united with what you all are trying to accomplish. We want them to stop the bus terminal and recognize that in order to be a more equitable city, we can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. I am with you all. I appreciate your activism, and I'm going to continue to stand with you all and push back against this decision that's been made. Thank you all for convening today. This is one of the most important issues of our time. And we need more people across the District of Columbia to understand what's happening right here in this Brentwood community. We need more students, more teachers, and others to explain and teach and spread the word about this injustice that's happening right here in this community that largely impacts Black and brown people. Right? Historically, these decisions get made with very little thought. Well, not again. Right? We're going to stop that from happening without very little thought, and this is one of the ways that you do that. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you all for inviting me to be a really small part of your efforts. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Parisa. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Council Member. Attorney Johnny Barnes, speak on the lawsuit.
Good morning. Good morning. Some folks wanted to put a $160 million dam at a place, and they ignored the statute that said you got to protect the fish. And so some people just like these went to federal court. And the court agreed with them. If the statute says you got to protect the fish, you got to protect the fish.
That's right.
So what did the court do? It stopped the construction of the dam. So the folks who wanted to put that dam went to the circuit court, Circuit Court of Appeals, federal court. And they said, we've already spent 80% of the money on this dam. And the lower court said, stop it. We can't have that. And the circuit court said, no, you didn't follow the law. Stop the dam. So these folks went to the United States Supreme Court. And they said, we're spending $160 million. And them folks, them judges below said, we got to look out for fish? That ain't right. And the United States Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, said, stop the dam. That's the law of the land. When you don't follow the statutes that are designed to protect animals and spiders and of course people, you gotta stop the construction.
That's right.
And that's what our lawsuit is about. These folks here have moved forward with this proposal, a $20 million construction proposal, and the law says if you spend $1 million or more in construction, you have to do an environmental impact study. You got to look at what it's going to do to the people. These people ignored that. I guess they're kind of Trump-like. They think they can go out on Park Avenue and shoot somebody. So we want to ask our courts in filing this lawsuit, what, Commissioner Silver, former Commissioner Silver, we're going to ask them to what? Stop the construction. Y'all get that refrain going. We're trying to stop the construction.
That's right.
And so when the law says you've got to be concerned about residency, where people live. You can't do disparate, disproportionate things to one place.
Yes.
That's what our DC human rights law says. And as Councilmember McDuffie said, when you put half of the toxic waste facilities in one place, you're ignoring the law.
That's right.
So we're asking our courts what? Stop the construction. And when the law says you've got to give the Advisory Neighborhood Commission formal notice and an opportunity to participate in the discussion, and you have to give their views great weight.
Yes.
And when you ignore that law, just like the Supreme Court said, before you do construction, you've got to comply with the law. And so we're asking them what, Commissioner Silver?
Stop the construction.
Stop the construction. And he finally got it. And when the law says you got to do government in the sunlight, we have a sunshine amendment. You can't make decisions in the dark. And they tell these people here, well, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what's going on. They're violating the sunshine amendment. So we're asking our courts to do what, Commissioner Silver?
Stop the construction.
Stop the construction. There are other parts of it. Empower DC has put together a nice media package with the 42-page complaint. Reggie Donaldson is one of our plaintiffs. They also have a letter that is Exhibit A of the complaint from 9 scientists. We're in the age of science, right, with this COVID pandemic. Because nobody mentioned you doing all of this on top of COVID. So we're asking the court to do what?
Stop the construction.
Stop the construction.
Stop it now.
And so those 9 scientists, Exhibit A, pay attention to what they say, because they use the language of this administration's own report that they did about the environmental situation. They used their own language and showed the harm that will be caused if this construction goes forward. Now the people downtown, they said we don't have to think about that, even though the law says it. We're like Donald Trump. So the lawsuit is filed today. They'll have 61 days to respond. We also include in the complaint Exhibit B, which is a resolution not yet voted on by the ANC opposing this construction. And they got to give it great weight. They got to listen to the ANC. That's what the ANC is for, right, Commissioner?
That's right.
So we look forward to engaging these folks. And just like the Supreme Court said, you got to protect fish. Another court said you got to protect spiders. All we're saying is when the law says things that you must do, we just want you to protect the health and safety and life of the Brentwood residents. That's what this lawsuit is about. And like Councilmember McDuffie said, this is a very, very important lawsuit. Because if they can railroad this proposal through this community, if they can move like a bull in a china cabinet, china shop, not caring about the law, they can do anything. The clear, plain, unambiguous language of several statutes says this is what you must do before you construct anything $1 million more than $20 million. So what are we asking our court to do, Commissioner?
Everybody,
Stop the construction.
Stop the construction. All right.
Thank you, Johnny.
Johnny Barnes. Yes, sir.
All right, we want to take a moment and open it up to questions, and also if any of the other residents here in Brentwood want to hop up and speak for a moment. Anybody want to talk? All right, so we're here for questions. We'll all be here for the next little bit, so just let us know if you have anything that you need. Thanks everyone for showing up. Thank you, Parisa. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Commissioner Oliver. Thanks to Councilman McDuffie, as he already had to get out. And to the residents of Brentwood, thank you for coming. We would not be here without everyone's hard work. Thanks so much.